Guys, doing this show these past several months, it's just been amazing.
Yeah, it's really been awesome.
Been too sweet, I'd say.
Guys, wouldn't we just agree that they've been, I don't know, just incredible?
You're watching DCTV. Now here's your host, the voice, Dave Canning. It's you, it's me, it's DCTV. It's you, it's me, it's DCTV. Let's start the show.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, it is me, it is NRD. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is not just an awesome show. It is not just a great show. It is just incredible of a show, because tonight our guest on the Wrestling Nerd broadcast, he is a former ECW champion, a two-time ECW tag team champion, and a 8-time WWE hardcore champion, hailing from Ozone Park, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this evening, just incredible. Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah,
thank you, guys. Thank you. Hell of an intro right there. I appreciate that.
I'm a Hall of Fame broadcaster from my old high school, so
Nice.
I got to do it right.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
So yes, we have Justin Credible with us this evening on the Wrestling Nerd broadcast, and this is literally, I have no other way to put it. It is just incredible. So thank you for coming on. Let's, I don't know what do we want to start with tonight? You know what? I do think we should. I have one idea. Unfortunately, Wrestling World lost an icon last week.
Oh yeah.
In New Jack. So is there any stories or any words you'd like to shed on the passing of New Jack?
I'll just say this. Jack he was a friend. He was an innovator. He was special in many ways. Nobody was more close to the gimmick that he portrayed on camera. No one was more authentic than New Jack. Paul Heyman had a little shtick about him on Talking SmackDown Friday night, and that pretty much summed it up. I mean, that was New Jack. He was a lot of things, man. But after all those crazy things and being a great performer and doing all these controversial things, deep down inside, Jerome Young was a great man and, a great presence in the locker room. Always had a smile on his face, always would make you smile. He's going to be missed. He was truly a legend and somebody that, even though he never made it to the WWE or WCW, hell, I don't think he wanted to. The career path he chose, served him well, and I just saw his thing on his feature on Dark Side of the Ring. Just that alone makes you realize how important he was to the business of professional wrestling. So hats off to you, my friend, and God bless you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that just goes to show how big of a name he truly was in the wrestling industry, not having to make it, because it used to be, the old saying was, if you didn't make it to WWE, you didn't make it.
Right.
And that just goes to show you that, I honestly, as a kid growing up in the 90s, didn't really watch much ECW, but I knew who New Jack was for whatever reason. So
yeah, he was definitely an outlier and somebody that kind of crossed all paths and all generations. And like I said, he brought a legitimacy to what he did. He was great at blurring the line. And a lot of times the line was blurred. He wasn't mad a lot of the times. He wasn't really, a lot of the great things he did was, he was the ultimate worker. A lot of times, he pitched a fastball right by you, and even the smarts didn't see it, that it was a work. So he was really a great entertainer. And a lot of people don't know that. And he could actually wrestle too. So he was all those things, man, which made him so unique.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And you mentioned watching his Dark Side of the Ring special, which leads me to my next question. Last week they had the episode on Nick Gage,
Yes.
and I fear that I don't misquote this in any way, because I don't want that man to come kill me. But he mentioned something along the lines of, there are people who frown upon deathmatch wrestling, his style. And they think like, oh, it's just ECW, wannabes and whatnot, something along the lines of, they're just mad that they didn't think of that first. what are your thoughts on deathmatch wrestling and Nick Gage in that area?
I hate to say it, but I am not, and it's going to sound hypocritical. I'm not a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. I'm not. I find it scares me. Even though ECW did incorporate a lot of that stuff, and some people did do straight up death matches in ECW, it was never my cup of tea. No, not to participate in, and not to watch. Now, does it hold a place in our business? Absolutely. And Nick Gage is a very smart, very talented guy who has kind of ridden the wave of believability, right? He really, people buy it into what he does, which puts him in a unique place to kind of work the ultimate work. So for him, kudos. He's sold everybody on his character, and but for me, I'm more of a fan of that old Texas, West Texas wrestling with Terry Funk, where you'd wrestle a match, and then if the chairs and the tables and the ladders come out, so be it, right? Like, I like that kind of stuff, not just the glass. Like, I've never done glass or anything like that. I just find that a bit overkill. But again, not to say that I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, for me, I'm not into it.
Yeah, me personally, I'm in that same boat. Like, I cringe anytime somebody's ever brought out a bag of tacks. I can't watch it. Scares me, and it's
but I mean, again, it's for to each his own, right?
Absolutely. Brian,
I was going to say, well, the question you just asked, Dave, is similar. Lindsay from our Patreon had that similar question, but she sent me a video recently. I didn't know who was doing it, but it was Ian Rotten at a match recently with the light tubes. I don't think he's still active. I felt like he was like a crowd member, and he had a bundle of light tubes, held it to the guy, and headbutted it. It was crazy.
Wow. Y'all see the video circulating of the guy lighting his crotch on fire this week?
Yeah.
Yes,
it was
I did, and they had to like rip his pants off.
Yeah, it didn't turn out good at all. It was like it was a low budget indie thing.
You see, but that's what I don't like about the business is that could bring a bad name to wrestling, right? I think that's where it becomes like ECW was always known in some circles at the time, especially as kind of garbage wrestling, right? And in reality, we had Yoshihiro Tajiri, super crazy,
exactly.
Masato Tanaka, Jerry Lynn, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, myself. There's a lot of guys that could work. Shane Douglas, another one, Taz. The list goes on and on. We were a little bit of everything. Where some of the hardcore wrestling and the garbage deathmatch stuff is just so gratuitous, and it shows. It really is a reminder of backyard wrestling, to the point where, like, I don't want people to think that's what I do, because in a way it's offensive to me, because we're so much more than that. I just to me, like I said, it serves a purpose, but the way it's done, I mean, it just really seems low budget, low talent, and just, you know what I mean? It kind of doesn't do it for me. And I wish more people, I wish there was more of a governing body in pro wrestling that there used to be back in the NWA days and the days of the territories, because that would never have stood for something like that, because that's like a shoot backyard thing,
I think the worst part too is I think they lost their venue. I think the venue pulled that they were doing it from.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that stuff's going to happen,
So what would you think would be the most quote unquote extreme thing that you've done in a match that you've done?
Wow. The most, I haven't done a whole hell of a lot of extreme things, but I would say probably the most extreme would have been maybe Jerry Lynn and I, where I did Hurricanrana Frankensteiner from the top rope to the floor through a table. That's, probably one of the bigger bumps. I never did anything. I mean, I've done barbed wire, I've done stuff like that, but never anything that we can consider today like deathmatch or hardcore. You know what I mean? Like nothing that could hold a candle up to that stuff.
What were your thoughts of WWE's rebirth of ECW after the success of the one night stand pay-per-views?
I thought that was great. I mean, in a way, we were all scared. I mean, the first one, the one night stand, I thought it came across as a legitimate ECW show. Everything was really good, and it really caught what ECW was. Really did.
Yeah, I'll admit, like I said, I didn't watch much ECW growing up, but I remember seeing the build for the one night stand. I was like, this is, and I just remember watching it. I just go, how did this not succeed? This is amazing. And I got really mad at you because I'm a big Chris Jericho fan when he fought, and I was like, what's he doing now? And then you learn the history of the Impact players afterwards. I'm like, oh, it makes sense now. So
no, it was. I mean, look, it had a great opportunity, and it really was. The flavor was all there. Everything was perfect, and because Vince let Paul do the entire thing. All the entire ECW staff, including Paul Heyman, Tommy Dreamer, writing it. We had full control. Only after the second 2006 one night stand did you start to see the Rey Mysterios. Even though he was in ECW, he was really just there for a cup of coffee. And a lot of those guys were as well. They weren't really ECW guys. So it already started. You could see that it was already starting to be tainted by by the WWE talent.
Was that almost heartbreaking to see that happen?
It was. It really was. It really was. Yeah. But we were all very happy that it was happening. We were getting paid. And there was no WCW. For the first time in professional wrestling history, there was, in 2001, there were 3 companies at the time: WCW, ECW, and WWE, where, everyone could work full time. At the end of in 2002, there was only one company, and that was the WWE. So hundreds of full-time talents went to the unemployment line, which is wrestling was not big at the time to where all these guys could find suitable jobs in the business and make money. So it was heartbreaking. So yeah, it took a lot of years for something to happen. So it was a great. We saw it as an opportunity for something to happen.
I have a question. Maybe we can backtrack just a little bit. What I consider the last true ECW pay-per-view, Guilty as Charged, in 2001. I love that event. I still have it on VHS, and I don't know. Do you have any memories of that? The title match.
I don't. I know I was in the main event, and I think wasn't it like me, Carino, Sandman? I don't know.
Yep, it's in tables, ladders, and chairs and canes match after the title.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it being a good show. We always did really good at the Hammerstein Ballroom. That's a great place for wrestling, and that's where the one night stands took place as well. And a lot of the Vince's ECW TV tapings took place. But what makes me sad, and I never watched those shows again anymore, is because we all kind of knew that was the last of ECW. So to me, it was just like, I don't even like to watch it,
I'll ask one more question on it, and since it's a subject. At the end.
I don't care. Go ahead.
I'm just teasing. At the end of it, I guess Sandman 1 held the title for a minute or two. Yeah. You and Carino at the end had a little promo. It seemed like you're going to refound the new Impact players. The
new Impact players, yeah. That would have been interesting. I mean, it's funny. We never, I don't think Paul really had any intentions of moving forward with it because we really had no prospects for television. I came to find out at this time. So, it was just, wishful thinking, let's just say. It would have been fun to see.
I gotcha. Nice.
Who's more difficult to deal with on their hardest okay. Paul Heyman on his most difficult day versus Vince on his best day. Who's harder to work with?
I would rather work with, I think Paul is probably, for me, easier to work with, just because he's more give and take, where he always gets credited for the big idea, which is very false. Paul wasn't a great idea guy. Although he did have a lot of amazing ideas, he was more of a and other people will say this, not just me, he was more of a great motivator to where he took talent and made you believe you could step outside yourself, and through motivational speeches and kind of talking shit to you could make you believe you were that good in order to go out there and perform what he wanted you to. Where Vince was a different animal, but equally cool. Like, I don't know, he was just a different guy. He would more or less challenge you to go out there and do it, instead of Paul like working with you to go out there and do it, you know. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, in my head it does, but you have to know Vince, which he was a stubborn son of a bitch, you know.
I would love to know Vince McMahon. So if you have his contact information, we'd love to have him on here sometime.
So he's
I'm
just
just,
waiting to take
I'm
your
just
call,
here to
Dave.
network with him.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Dark Side of the Ring before, and we've talked about this a couple of times, and I've mentioned that I think it'd be great to have ECW as maybe as a whole, if not at least the end days. You know, do you have any ideas like what would you as a performer like to see covered by Dark Side of the Ring?
I would just like to see similar to a rise and fall of ECW. I think that would be fascinating. I don't know if they can do it because of footage or or whatever, because of Vince owning the brand. I don't know. I don't know. I would love to, because they did XPW, right?
I think it's coming out this year.
I think it's within the next couple of weeks. It's coming up.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. Other than the fact that they don't have rights, or they haven't figured out a way to, maybe it's in the pipeline. I don't know, but they haven't figured out a way to get around doing it, saying it. I'm sure they could in some ways, but you don't have Paul Heyman, so that's going to be very difficult to do, and a lot of other main players. So. Hopefully someday they will be able to do it, because it would be really dope. If not, I would love to see WWE do it. You never know, man. Look, ECW just never seems to go away, whether you love it or not. It just always seems to pop up somewhere.
Exactly.
On that note, actually, I was talking with someone, a fellow figure collector. They came out recently with Cactus Jack with the title. They come out with Bam Bam. And that made me think, I was like you said, ECW is popular, even WCW stuff, they own the rights, they're making the figures, and
sure,
those are the true brands, the fandom never goes away on that stuff.
And that's why they bought them, right? They bought those names for a reason. I mean, they could forever put out action figures, whatever. I know DVDs and Blu-rays really aren't the thing anymore, but nonetheless, for collectors, they still sell to some degree. Just to have the video game licensing and the toys and all that stuff. So yeah, I would love to see more, and I'm sure we will, because at the end of the day, you can only make so many toys with what they have today, right? It's like, what are you going to do next? I just want them to do an Aldo Montoya figure. I mean, it's about time, right? That's one of the only dolls that I could remember from the new generation that they haven't done, and I don't know why. I think that would be really dope if they did.
I've seen some really good customs. I mean, there's fans out there.
Yeah, I've seen some good customs, but I'd love to see one of the classics. That would be cool. Plus, they would pay a hell of a lot of money. So call me.
So tag WWE and Mattel and all those people. Make sure we get an Aldo Montoya.
We have to get Ryan Barkin on a micro brawler.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
there we go,
man. I don't even know who to talk to, and all these motherfuckers know who I am. Ryan knows who I am. Shit, they're just a bunch of kayfabe and sons of bitches.
Well, that's gonna say. I don't know if you see me holding up, as you mentioned, people. I'm holding up micro brawlers of ECW guys they made. I mean, we want one of you. We recently started a store ourselves with our thriving little podcast.
You guys should petition for me, each one of you, and I'll do it myself. Get out there on social media, email these guys, and let's get one of these done, man. That'd be dope. That would be really cool
to talk to. We had
a guy. We got the emails.
Yeah, go for it, man. Please, I'm serious. That would be really fun. Yeah,
definitely.
So we did also put out on our Patreon, patreon.com/WNRDB. Feel free to join anybody that watches this. We did have some questions from some of our patrons, and let me just tell you, We like to be that show that, you know, we like to talk wrestling with our guests whatnot. We also like to ask questions that are completely out of left field. So
Sure.
if you're completely ready to escape wrestling for 5 minutes, we've got some good ones for you. All right. So first off, our Commissioner Harold the Puppet asked, yes, our commissioner is a blue fluffy puppet. He asked, if you had a slingshot and a pool ball, could you take down an angry bear?
Wow. I don't think I could take down an angry cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good with the bear. I ain't messing with the bear.
Tracy Smothers didn't teach you any of the
Dude.
bear?
No, but Tracy could probably do it. If anybody, Tracy Smothers could. God, I can't believe he's been gone this long already, man. Last time I saw Tracy, poor guy, he was so thin and so frail, man. Cancer caught him out of nowhere, man. He was one of the good guys. Y'all ever talk to him?
No, but
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say the
Man.
same thing.
What a good dude, man. I feel so bad for him and his family. God bless you, Tracy, if you're out there, man. Anyways, yeah.
On a lighter note, fork, knife, or spoon, one has to go away forever. Which is it?
Spoon, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely
you could
spoon.
use it.
Yeah, I mean, fork would probably be the best. I love forks, and then, yeah, spoon just serves no purpose whatsoever, because you could use the fork as a spoon if you had to. And so, yeah, definitely spoon.
Let's see, what else do we have here? If you could wear one outfit for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One outfit for the rest of my life would definitely be my jeans and my jean shorts and t-shirt and wrestling boots. The old Justin gear, because it works all seasons.
Got blood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good, man.
If you could add or create a sport for the Olympics, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Let me think here. You know what would be a good one for the Olympics, and we're going to get pro wrestling involved in it? Like how far you could toss somebody in a battle royal out. You know what I mean? That would be you know what I mean? Because you had so many young kids taking so many bumps. I would love to see literally how far you could throw somebody over the top rope. See what kind of
Spike
bump
Dudley's taken a lot of far dives.
Spike Dudley would be a gold medalist in that.
Or just have a battle royal. Every country just send their biggest, baddest dude and just have a big battle royal.
How bad would that be?
That would be awesome.
I bet you would get good ratings.
I don't know why, dude. Oof.
Okay, I'll ask this. If we were to have a all-country battle royal during the Olympics, and you had to choose two people to call the match, who would be your commentators?
Wow. Mauro Ranallo and Jim Ross.
Wow.
Why not?
That would be good.
Why
I
not?
like that.
Why not? All right. They kind of know their shit, and one could just feed off the other with some obscure references to some college we never knew of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be fun.
I remember, I forget, it was a few years ago, I was having a conversation with my buddy. They could have pro wrestling in the Olympics, judge the story and do it as a judge's score. Judge, almost how they have Greco-Roman wrestling, but instead of like fighting to a finish, you judge the match.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. You could totally do it like that, dude. It would be fantastic. And I guarantee you, if you judged it almost like figure skating, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Like a perform, you could totally do it with no you have no bookers to kind of like, it'd be just a regular finish. It wouldn't matter, what the finish would be.
And, Wade Keller there with scorecards.
Yes.
Dave Meltzer is the Russian judge.
Yeah. Meltzer, Keller, Jason Powell, and maybe like Mike Johnson.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And then just throw us in there too.
That would actually be, dude. I would pay for that on pay-per-view.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
The Olympics
I
on
would pay
pay-per-view.
for that. Fuck yeah, dude. I'd pay for that. That's funny.
Do you have any others there, Ryan?
Yeah, another Patreon question from the Magnificent Margaret. Who's your favorite Justin besides yourself?
I don't know. Are there any other Justins right now?
I don't want to say who it doesn't have to be wrestling. I'm not going to say who came to my mind first.
I know who you're thinking of. Too.
Wrestling or non-wrestling?
Who's your favorite?
Just in general.
Could be your neighbor, your mailman, or the Beeps.
I like Justin Bieber. I'm a little gay for the kid. Yeah,
that's what I thought of.
It's all right. Yeah.
I thought of Justin Soto. I went to high school with him. Shout out to Justin Soto if he's watching this.
Who's Justin Soto?
I went to high school with him.
That's it.
Great shooting guard on our basketball team. Great family too. His older brother Orlando was my tennis partner for a year. It was awesome.
Nice.
Any others there, Ryan?
Yeah, I got a few more. Do you have any thoughts on the X Factor theme? Did you enjoy it? Is there any...
That was my idea.
Really?
Yeah. Real quick story on that. Kid Rock and I were friends at the time, going back to the 90s. And Uncle Cracker was, if you remember him, he was he was the DJ for Kid Rock. Mm-hmm. I ended up meeting his brother, Mike. And Mike Schaefer ended up becoming my manager who got me into the WWE for my second run. And then we just happened to, suggest to use that song. So, yeah, that's how it happened.
I listened to it on my drive home. It's been a while. That was from Gregory Iron asked that question. But I listened to it on the way. I'm like, man, I like this. I liked it. It's been a while. Good song.
It was just something different. It was very almost heel-esque, right? It was just outside the box. And to me, it would have been better than, it was a mainstream artist. The album itself, Double Wide, ended up selling 3 million copies. So I just figured, you know what, it'll be something cool from a mainstream artist instead of Jim Johnston's originals. You know what I mean? So that's where my head was at the time.
Nice. That's cool.
Speaking of X Factor, I just had a random idea. If we were to do fantasy booking in a 6-man tag match, X Factor versus the Impact players, and you're doing double duty, who wins?
Or Carino. Bring Carino in.
No. Because we never actually did it. It was by no way it would be anything other than the Impact players. I mean, we were just so, I hate to say that, but we were just really good. I mean, we were one of the best in that era, at least in my opinion.
I agree. I've been watching a lot lately, and it's good stuff.
I loved working with X-Pac. He's one of the greats as well. I was really lucky with my partners. So but yeah, definitely Lance and I, definitely.
Awesome.
I got a question.
Go for it, Nick.
If you could wrestle anybody ever, I mean, you could even have wrestled before, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, Ric Flair. Ric Flair, definitely. Yeah. He's the only one I really haven't wrestled that I want to. I've wrestled Rock. I've wrestled Shawn Michaels in a house show. Steve Austin, I wrestled several times at house shows. You name it. Very few. Undertaker, I've wrestled a bunch of times. The only person I haven't wrestled is Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. So, and I'd love to work with Hulk. Don't get me wrong. But to me, the Nature Boy would be the shit. Yeah.
And since you mentioned the Undertaker, it just popped in my head before we started talking with you. I know you did the corkscrew pile driver, tombstone. Sorry. Did the Undertaker, was there ever a conversation? Could you not use that in WWE?
I could not use it. No, no, there was never a conversation. It was just kind of given, you know what I mean? It was given that you couldn't do it. So that and the super kick as well, because of Shawn going into 2001.
Every single wrestler.
Now it's a high spot, right? So yeah, I know.
We were talking before we started recording about watching Dynamite last night. Who in the business now do you just see like, oh, they got a match coming up on TV or the local indie fed or whatever it may be, that you just, I gotta watch this guy tonight? Who's your go-to wrestler right now?
I don't know, man. That's a really rough one. I don't know. I can honestly say I don't have anything that pops into my mind. Like, not anybody that. I just give a generic answer, I guess. John Moxley, only because, and I know what you're going to say, he's established. That doesn't make any sense, but I still think he's still like searching for who he is.
Oh no.
Oh, did we lose him?
That's coming back.
Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
and he's
Did
back.
you hear me?
Sure.
We're
We're
searching
back
for
now.
where you were.
All right, sorry if we have to clip it, but I would
That's
just say
fine.
John. I would just say John Moxley only because I still don't think I've seen what I need to see from him on a top tier level. Like I want to see the John Moxley that everybody is predicting is this. I want to see the thing everybody is like talking like so great about. I haven't seen that guy yet. He shows me signs of greatness. I want to see the greatness. Bottom line.
I almost feel like a heel turn would do him good.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's lack of opponents or what, but I'm not vibing with it. You know, not for the main event guy that they're putting him out there to be, you know.
What threw me off?
That's just me.
What threw me off about Moxley the last 2 weeks is so last week when he fought, I'm blanking on his name, the guy from New Japan.
Eugene Nagata.
Thank you. Yes. He comes out to Wild Thing by the Trog. And then this week he came out to Wild Thing by Joan Jett. Which version is he going to come out to next week?
The one he came out.
Thing?
The one he came out. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. The one he came out to this week. That's what they were looking for. Yeah.
Joan Jett. Because when I hear that, I think of Wild Thing Rick Vaughn in Major League.
Major League. Yeah, that's exactly.
That's all I'm thinking about last
is.
night.
Yeah.
Which I think it'd be pretty awesome if now I'm just fantasy booking. I want Charlie Sheen to accompany him to the ring in a weird world.
Oh God.
I know that's just terrible.
That's funny. That's funny.
So speaking of current wrestlers, we'll transition to our top 3 Tuesday. Because even though, yes, we record this on a Thursday, it drops on Tuesday. We go with top 3 wrestlers that are currently wrestling that we think would be great in ECW back in the day. So
okay.
I don't know if you have a 3 that come to mind. If you want to wait, we can save you for last.
No, I can go right now.
Okay, sure. So give us your top 3.
I would say Kenny Omega. Obviously, John Moxley. And then I would say, only because Paul Heyman would just jizz over this guy, Pac.
Yeah.
I think those would be my three picks. And that guy could be interchangeable with Hangman Adam Page, either one. But Pac would still be more of Heyman's speed.
Yeah. So Nick, why don't you give us your top 3 Tuesday?
All right. Well, I was thinking about this earlier. I would think that 1 and 2 would be the Lucha Bros. I think that Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix would have been great. They would have fit right into ECW. And then Sammy Callahan in Impact. I think he would be good. He would have probably been good too.
All right. I like those 3. Ryan, how about you?
All right. I was thinking Darby Allin. I mean, I see him as a Spike Dudley, but getting a lot of offense in. I'm honestly not his biggest fan. I could just see him being real popular there. And these guys already have brawlers, but Brian Cage, I could see him being like a Sid or 911 squash guy. And then I'm gonna say this guy. He's kind of like the Mikey Whipwreck of today. And I know you've been on his podcast recently, but this guy bleeds. He would love to bleed ECW.
Brian Myers.
In there. And we'd love to have him on the show. I really enjoyed the episode when you were on Extreme Conversations with them.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude. He's a really good friend. He just came to my house the other day. He was coming through. He had a show in the area, and he wanted me to sign for his collection one of my old ECW action figures. So him and one of his students, I think it's one of the rap kids in AEW, Max Caster, and the other. Yeah, they came by the crib the other day just to sign an autograph. So I got the little guys coming to see the old man. The young kids.
You talk to him again, feel free to say this was fun. Whether it was fun or
I
not.
definitely will. It was fun. So
it was going to be our first episode. He had to cancel. He had to run on the treadmill, had to get his cardio in, so it canceled.
I'll do anything to avoid it. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
And then, so I guess that leaves the king for last. My top 3 people that I would want to see a repeat of Nick's. I would love to see Ray Phoenix in ECW. Just the way I saw
Yeah.
him fight Kenny Omega at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center 3 years
What
ago.
a great building for NEW, right?
Oh,
I was
love
there
it. Yeah.
that night. I was there that night.
You were? Oh my God, yes.
As a fan, I was just backstage, just hanging out.
I love Northeast Wrestling. Mike Lombardi
Yeah.
is an awesome guy. I
Yeah.
met him twice. He's a really good guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd never seen Kenny Omega wrestle, and I'd seen Ray once, and I just watched that match. Was like, I get it now. I get it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
number 2 for me is going to be Eddie Edwards, just because obviously he's not as extreme as Tommy, but I just get that kind of heart and soul vibe from him when he comes out and wrestles, cuts his promos, and he does have that edgy side that he breaks out on occasion. So he'd go great with Sammy. And then number 3 is Dr. Britt Baker, and there goes my fire alarm.
There it is.
Give me 1 second.
Dinner's ready.
Yeah. Right.
If I was cooking, maybe I can go off topic if
Sure.
you got something.
Go ahead. Yeah,
So
go
I
ahead.
saw you were the one-time ICW heavyweight champion. I
Yes.
thought maybe that was Insane Clown Wrestling, but it is not.
Nope. Nope.
Have you ever wrestled at Juggalo Championship Wrestling by chance?
I have wrestled for the Juggalos, yeah. JCW.
What's that like? Any?
It's the shits.
Yeah.
It's the shits. It's very, very, very poorly organized. They don't pay very well. They don't take care of the guys and gals very well. So it's what it is. I mean, I'm not there. It's no big deal. But yeah, they do a shit job of taking care of the talent. They try. They love the business. I'm not going to disrespect them, but I would never go back. Never go back.
It was a one and done. Okay.
Yeah, I did get to work with the great Muda at the Gathering, but even though it was outdoors with no locker rooms and just horrible conditions, but
yeah,
that's usually the problem. Excuse me.
I'm
All the
sorry
Fago you can drink, though.
Yeah, you can keep it, man. Keep it. Just pay me and take care of me. Shit.
So my house is not on fire. We're good. So
That's a good thing.
Thank God. I told you I'm not a good cook, everyone, but so yeah. Did anybody else have any other? Did we cover everything that we wanted to cover?
Britt Baker, and then you got cut off.
Oh yes, Britt Baker. I feel like would be able to go in and handle her own. She's not going to take shit from anybody. She can put a man in her place, a man in his place, same way she can put all the ladies in her place. I know there wasn't much focus on women's wrestling in ECW, but I think she would just be so badass. And
yeah.
It's
amazing, actually, the fact that you said that. I never thought about it. The way women's wrestling is almost a must on every show that that is taking place today. ECW really did not have women's wrestling.
No.
At all. And that's
women were still a pretty vocal point of the show, though. Yeah, they were.
They were a huge vocal point. And look, but I know in today's woke culture, we can't, say certain things, but I don't hate the fact that there were pretty young ladies on the show as managers fighting with each other, getting involved in angles like the traditional heel or babyface manager role. I still think that served a part of it. I'm just really surprised because I never ever thought about it. I'm going to mention this to somebody else and try to bring this up somewhere where female wrestling, women's wrestling never was a part of ECW really at all. So that's kind of interesting if you really think about it. They were used as just like kind of eye candy. But yeah, that's actually a really interesting point.
I feel like ECW was also like the first place you seen like intergender wrestling, like when men fighting women. Like that's the first time I ever seen it was at ECW.
Like especially with Jazz, because she was a legit badass. She was a legitly trained kick-ass pro wrestler, and she went on to be the NWA women's champion and a killer at that. So yeah, and Impact as well. So definitely, yeah.
I'm sure my sister would want me to ask this. What are your thoughts on intergender wrestling as a whole?
I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. I don't mind. Like I've always sold for the ladies. It's not about me selling or not selling. I just prefer to keep. We're talking pro wrestling, which is a fantasy world, but I just prefer, like, if we're talking real life, a 250-pound man against a 5'3", 125-pound woman, and you're sitting here beating her up, hitting her with moves, dropping her on their head, punching, kicking, etc. And it's not even the moral dilemma of, oh, you shouldn't hit a woman, because we know it's fake. We know it's just whatever. It's no different than an action movie. But I just think it just I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. Maybe because I'm a little old school. It's just hard for me to justify a smaller person selling for me, or me selling that. It's just
it's a believability thing. Yeah, it makes
to me it is.
sense.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with, once again, like, big egos or anything like that. It's less political. Other than I don't know. It just doesn't look good. If you're gonna do it, but I don't know. There's no reason for it unless it's a one-off, right? Unless you do it like once in a while, you don't make it a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So did we go through all the Patreon questions there, Ryan? Did we get everything?
Yeah, all the ones I had. Yeah.
Cool. Very good.
Mr. Incredible, we will give you the floor to play Electric Company and plug away anything you've got. If we can find merch, YouTube, Instagram, anything like that, plug away, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Just follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Both are at PJ Polacco. And go to ProWrestlingTees.com/JustIncredible. I have over 20 ECW style and new style T-shirts. I got the Got Blood, I Hate This Town, and some other ones. And I even have 3 Aldo Montoyas from the old WWF days. So just go on over ProWrestlingTees.com/JustIncredible. Check them out. That's it.
Absolutely. And tag Ryan Barkin and PWTees to get that
Yes.
Aldo Montoya.
Yeah. You want an Aldo Montoya micro brawler.
Or a Just Incredible. Either one.
Both.
Well, we can do both, and one can be the chase.
That's it.
There we go.
That's it. Yep.
So, yes, that is going to do it for this episode of the Wrestling Nerd broadcast. Of course, we thank you, Justin, for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to follow us on all the platforms of social media, the Wrestling Nerd broadcast, WNRDB, patreon.com/WNRDB. And, of course, when you're shopping for Justin's merchandise, you can check out our merchandise, ProWrestlingTees.com/The Wrestling Nerd broadcast, and that is nerd spelled NRD. So on behalf of myself, the King, Dave C, the Voice, the Founding Father, Nick Carpenter, and of course, Micro Brawler Scholar, Ryan Crossley, and hopefully soon to be Micro Brawler, Just Incredible. Don't forget to tell your mother you love her every day, because like Kevin Durant said, Mama, you're the real MVP. Good night, everyone, and God bless America.
Thank you so much.